everybody again to Tactics and Touchlines. Today we are looking at the final four of the UEFA Champions League. Arsenal, Paris Saint-Germain, that is Barcelona and Inter. Prince is the only person here whose club is still in the Champions League. So we are going to start with him. Let's look at their return leg game at the Santiago Bernabeu. We saw Real Madrid fans giving a lot of pressure with images, with videos, with everything to show Arsenal that they would surely do the comeback. But Arsenal went to the Bernabeu and won. Prince told us that he would surprise the world twice, and they did. So I want to find out from him, with the Champions League game against Real Madrid at the Bernabeu, what do you think Arsenal did so well to be able to surprise the world, as he told us before the start of the first league game?
Okay, so thank you guys so much. I think everything started with Arteta. I think he being a Spanish was also one advantage. And I remember listening to one of the sports pundits who clearly said that Arteta initially spoke to Guardiola before the team flew to, and there was this school park we went to train that was a closed area we had to train, and I think in the minds of Madrid, they thought we were going to defend. We were going to come in a low block and defend so well because we are so good at defending. So they can just put so much pressure on us. But unfortunately, we came with a different plan, which was to open and play with them. I think that really worked for us because you notice whenever Barcelona is playing Madrid, that's how Barcelona is able to win Madrid. When you compare the way Barcelona plays with Madrid and Atletico plays Madrid, Atletico always comes to the low block and try to defend, but Barcelona opens up and play with them, and that's how Barcelona gets. I think Arteta took a clue from those matches that when you're playing with Madrid, try open up and play with them. Go ahead with them, and I think it gave us an advantage. And I think we came out. I told the world that we were going to surprise the world. And I remember that we were going to score them even at Bernabeu, but some of you were laughing at me. Some especially was doubting me, but here we are.
Some didn't believe.
Yeah, here we are. We sailed through, and actually we were the only team that won home and away. We won all our 2 matches.
Home and away, yes.
Yes. Yeah, so I think
this is the third time you've qualified for a Champions League semi-finals. On one you were in the final, the second you were taken out by Man United. So let me go to the Man United man, that is Sam. Let's look at the Aston Villa Paris Saint-Germain game. Do you think if the game ended in Paris at 2-1, Villa would have eliminated Paris Saint-Germain?
I think on that night we truly saw the fighting spirit of Aston Villa on that night. I still think PSG didn't really come with. I don't know what really went wrong on that night, but kudos to Aston Villa. I think they played really well. If the match had gone into, I think, some few minutes being, I don't know, maybe it would have been a different story. Same thing if Aston Villa had gotten at least 2 or 3 goals at Paris. I think Paris wouldn't have been in this conversation by now. But let's give the kudos to Aston Villa. I think they've been really good this season. Their coach has proven that it's not just about the team you are coaching, but you can take the smallest team and make it a big team. So Aston Villa has done really well. I think they play there. I think they at the end of the day, their fans were happy with how their team played. I think they didn't bow out that easily. That it was done and dusted, and they played very well.
Okay, so looking at Arsenal Real Madrid, as Prince told us that they will surprise the world, were you surprised by the scoreline of both fixtures?
Very, very, very surprised. I was very, very surprised ahead at the end of that night. I wanted to see some fighting spirit from Madrid also. I think we we all know this Madrid team. I think you know them to be the team that will fight till you hear the final. Because I think this batch of players don't really have that in them, or we can't really blame the coach per se. I think it's just the players. I think Vinicius overdoes this sometimes. Same for Jude and Mbappe. There are times the simplest balls just gives you the win. I was hoping for something, the wow factor in the Champions League, that you will see Madrid coming back to do a comeback, and it didn't happen. But well done to Arsenal. I think they are enjoying the downfall of Madrid this year. It's not just in the Champions League; it's even in their league. Madrid are not just being Madrid this season. Arsenal took advantage of all those loopholes, and they did the damage to Madrid.
Okay, Raf, let's look at from your end. You've tipped Inter Milan to win the Champions League because they've struggled, they are playing so well, and you think they are one of the teams that can go to the final and win it. I know you are supporting Arsenal against Real Madrid, making sure an English club can get into that semi-final. Let's look at the Inter Milan game against Bayern Munich. Do you think Inter Milan were spared by Bayern Munich? Because in the first leg, we saw a 2-1. In the second leg, we saw Bayern going up, and there was a 2-2. What do you think Inzaghi did wrong to concede 2 goals at home? That through this whole Champions League, we've not seen him concede 2 goals in a home game.
Okay, so yes, thank you very much. Please, so what I would say is that in as much as Bayern is not having a good time this season, even though they are going to win the Bundesliga, they are not the Bayern Munich we used to know. You know, with the inclusion of Michael Olise and Kingsley Coman, and I mean the key players who used to run this Bayern Munich team, the Thomas Mullers and all, you can see that gradually they are aging. Now the Michael Olise is a new player who is now getting used to the way Bayern Munich plays. He's now getting used to the German culture, how the Bayern Munich team, the efficiency in the German machine, how it operates. He's getting used to that style. I watched that game against Inter Milan, and you can see that he was just doing the rounds on the flanks, but they were not productive until some of the changes came on, and you saw Thomas Muller and co, who were being more efficient. And also with Inter Milan, yes, the first leg was 2-1, if I'm correct. So yes, in that instance, yes, Inzaghi doesn't have to defend too much. Bayern needed just a goal to make the tie even. So therefore, every team was ready to play. So on that day, the proper display from both teams was exhibited, but the resilience and efficiency from the Inter Milan side, the Inter Milan guys were ready. They were ready to fight, unlike the Bayern boys. You could see that from the start of the game, Vincent Kompany was pushing his boys to attack more. They had to balance the attack and the defense properly. But when it comes to set pieces, I don't know, but the Inter Milan team are very good when it comes to set pieces. They are well worked team when it comes to set pieces, and they worked on that and used that to punish the Bavarians. So on the day, the better team who was ready to work extra hard won the day, and that was Inter Milan.
Okay, so with Inter Milan's performance, you were supporting Arsenal to beat Real Madrid. And you even told us that the second leg at the Bernabeu should end in a draw to help Arsenal qualify because they will win at the Emirates. In the second leg, did you think Arsenal surprised you by going for a win, or you felt like the match was theirs to win, so they had to just win that particular game?
In my earlier submission, I said Arteta will steady the game in the first 15 minutes. One of the best teams in terms of defensive solidity is Arsenal. So when Madrid were not able to score in the first 15 minutes, I know Arteta had a plan. He can go with a set piece. He had a weapon, Martinelli and Bukayo Saka. I've been watching Arsenal games. At 70th minute, 75th minute, he takes off Martinelli and brings on Trossard. But in that game, he kept on Martinelli. When Liverpool played Arsenal, if I can remember, Klopp said one of the players is more scared, not scared, but he feels that guy can be very, very efficient. When it was Liverpool versus Arsenal, he said Martinelli. So what Klopp said made me have a different perspective to that guy's style of play. He has the pace. He's very tricky. He's a tricky customer. So Arteta kept that ball. And when the game got to the 60th minute, I know now Madrid threw everything at Arsenal. And therefore I knew Arsenal would get that goal. 60th, 70th, 75th, Madrid would go all out. But one thing Ancelotti didn't, which section of the fans are complaining about him, is that he doesn't tend to trust the young guys, the other goalers and the other guys. He doesn't give them that confidence for them to play. Because if you look at us now, Lewis Kelly played as a left back on the day. And even though he's not too comfortable in that position, he was excellent. Arteta gave the boys that confidence and they played. They were able to hold on to the ball. They weren't scared of the pressure. Arteta lost to Liverpool. Klopp is one team manager who has really given it to Arsenal during his time at Liverpool. And I can't remember one Arsenal documentary or so like that. He was playing the Anfield, the Universal Anthem at training for the boys to prepare.
Yeah.
He works on and off the field to just psychologically make the players ready for the game. And I knew that manager he being a student of Pep Guardiola, I knew he was not going to disappoint. So I was not surprised. I know Arsenal would have done something, but that win, I think, is a big surprise, and we are all happy for Arsenal. They should go all out and let's see what happens.
Okay, so let's look at the final. Let's look at the final four. Now in the Champions League, we have 4 teams. That's the semi-final spot. We have Arsenal, Paris Saint-Germain, Barcelona, and Inter Milan. So I want to start with Prince. We know there have been conversations where he said you don't want to meet Inter Milan in the final. But let's start with the Arsenal and Paris Saint-Germain game. Watching the Paris Saint-Germain Aston Villa game, do you think there was a clue for Arsenal to now punish Paris Saint-Germain, especially going into a league game where Arsenal would play at home first and they will now go to Parc de France for the next round?
I think I'm not too sure about the Thomas Partey situation. I don't know if the UEFA rule allows him to play in the semis, because I think there's a rule in the UEFA that says that
the cards
will be cleared off going to the semis. So I don't know how that is. So I don't know if he's going to play for us in the first leg. But if he doesn't, I believe so that Arteta will put some 1 or 2 things together just to make sure there will be a different style that will suit us. And probably we should get at least the 3 points with match goals at the Emirates against PSG. I clearly know that we are going to score PSG. For that one, I know for sure that PSG might not be too difficult of a team for us.
Should have him believe you, as you said, for Madrid.
Yeah, honestly, PSG won't be a tough side for us, because we met them in the group stage and we scored them 2-0. Even though they've come off a high level of form and they are playing so well, I still think PSG can't match us, honestly.
So tactically, we know Paris Saint-Germain comes in a game with high risk, high reward type of football. They want their 3 forwards to put pressure, adding Hakimi and also Mendes. How do you think Arteta can stop these 5 players attacking your box every minute as they search forward?
And actually, that would be their problem if they don't manage it well. When you look at PSG, how they play with so much attacking in mind. You move into your box with so much numbers, with all the numbers. And one advantage you have is that they play 2 midfield. The Vitinha and the Neves guy. Yeah. Fabian Ruiz tries to play double 10 or plays 10 ahead. So honestly, for that 2-man midfield, unless their coach, Luis Enrique, try to create something different to suit what they're about to meet. But if we're able to control the midfield and we are solid defensively, I think with the likes of Martinelli and Saka playing the wings or being on the flanks, I think it will be a threat for them. So I believe so that we will surprise, just like we did with PSG. You know, PSG, No one thought we were going to even score him 7-1, 7 goals.
Yeah.
Same way, no one even gave us a chance against Madrid. The remontada and everything are there now. So, honestly, we are not scared. We are not scared.
Okay. So, Sam, in the first game between Real Madrid and Arsenal, you said Arsenal were not a match to this Real Madrid team and they were able to overturn. We discussed the Paris Saint-Germain Aston Villa game. Going into this game, do you think Arsenal are one of the teams to beat in the Champions League? So Paris Saint-Germain will struggle against them. If you are Luis Enrique facing this Arsenal team, what do you think you need to go into? Do you go in with the same style, or you need to make one or two changes to beat this Arsenal team?
Okay, I think at this level of in this competition, it would be very wrong if any manager has not really studied each competitor yet. I think PSG has already lost to Arsenal in this competition. So the right thing for Luis to do is to just sit back and look at where they did it wrong and where Arsenal may be lose at. I think, yeah, as you said, it all boiled down to tact, um, tactical play and individual brilliance at the end of the day. I think it won't be that easy as the first time that they were able to have 7 goals against PSG. I think Luis Enrique by now has seen where or what he did wrong and where he needs to patch things and make things better. I don't see it being an easy game. I think all the 4 teams in this level of this competition has something to prove and really want to make a name for themselves. PSG really need this. Arsenal really need this also. Inter and same as Barcelona also. I just feel like that if the cockiness and the eagerness of this level of this competition doesn't get into the minds of these Arsenal players, I think they can really go far. I think it's more of an average game right now that each team feels like he has a chance of winning. And let's see what really happens on that day. But I feel like each manager has seen all the by now, and it won't be that easy again.
Okay, Ralph, with Liverpool, your club, you've played against Arsenal, you've played against Paris Saint-Germain in this season. You've had a chance to play both teams. One thing is going into this season's Champions League, after Liverpool going out from Paris Saint-Germain, you were looking out for Aston Villa or Arsenal meeting them and maybe revenging that spot for the English team. What do you think Enrique did against Liverpool? And can he also do the same thing against Arsenal? Or Arsenal are more stronger, especially when it comes to stopping Paris Saint-Germain than Liverpool?
Yes. So, yes, even though Ancelotti is on the verge, Ancelotti has won the Premier League. That is a fact. But in terms of proper team balance, Arteta and Arsenal have that balance. That is what section of the fans are refusing to admit, that the guy has worked on this team. Liverpool has played against Arsenal and we suffered. We beat Paris Saint-Germain at Parc des Princes. Liverpool beat them at Parc, even though we were defensively solid and all. Between these two teams, yes, that's what I'm saying earlier, that even though Liverpool is winning the league, in terms of a team that has that proper balance, in terms of the defense, the midfield, and the attacking, that balance, it is Arsenal and Mikel Arteta. Luis Enrique, there is no better moment for him to prove to the European world and to Europe or to the world at large that he's a quality manager. This is the moment. The Champions League normally goes to Real Madrid, but this time around Real Madrid is out. The teams in there, he can match them. If Enrique wants to be a hero or a legend in the books of the Paris Saint-Germain fans and in France, he should try and win this Champions League. But bearing in mind that Arsenal too have the opportunity to also win the Champions League, I think this game is the best game of the season. Arsenal, Paris Saint-Germain. With all respect to Paris Saint-Germain, even though they won the league in France, which is something they do almost every time. The best game as a neutral is Arsenal versus Paris Saint-Germain. the tactical display, like how the managers are going to switch and change tactics. Arteta has it. Now, Luis Enrique will be coming up with his usual three midfield, but you can't predict what Arsenal will bring on board.
Yes.
If after Arsenal has beaten Real Madrid, I think their confidence level has skyrocketed. They are in the best position to beat Paris Saint-Germain, beating them this season. Liverpool were not able to beat Paris Saint-Germain. Yes, Luis Enrique beat Ancelotti to tactics and systems, but I'm not sure he can do that to Mikel Arteta. Arteta is a fan. I think with that game, Arsenal will beat Paris Saint-Germain on the day.
Okay. I think you are making another bold statement to support Arsenal in their Champions League fight. Let's look at the Inter Milan Barcelona game, starting from Prince. I want to find out, do you think people are seeing this match as like a mismatch? Because last time these two clubs met, Inter Milan were able to bully them. Do you think now with Hansi Flick in charge, Barcelona are going to come up with a different mindset and be able to overcome this Inter Milan team? Though Bayern Munich has shown that you can score against them. And Barcelona are one of the high-scoring teams in Europe now. So will Barcelona eliminate Inter Milan? And how can Hansi Flick break down this Inter Milan setup?
It might not come that, Barca has an advantage and a disadvantage to their own self. Because from the point where they are the highest scoring team in Europe, they concede a lot too. Because league, Barcelona, they could win matches, but they would have to concede goals. And there's an Inter side that they have a very solid back line. So how are you going to? The question is, how are you going to score? You being there, you having the options to score. Because when you look at Barcelona's up front, they have options. Yamal can score from anywhere. You have Rafinha in his best, enjoying his best moment in his football career. You have Lewandowski injured. That's also another problem. Yeah, Lewandowski is an issue there to solve from Barcelona. Ferran Torres will come in to help out. But honestly, I really wish Barcelona could go past Inter Milan. I really wish, but it's going to be a tough game, knowing how Barcelona are very weak at their defense. I think Kubasi is dipping, and Balde is also injured, I think, out of the season. So I don't know how they are going to manage not to concede a goal against Inter Milan, because Inter Milan also have a very nice attack going forward. You have Lautaro Martinez, who is can score at any time. You have Thuram. So these boys are very good. So honestly, Barcelona coming up against Inter will be a very difficult, but anyone who takes his moment will sail through.
Okay. Sam, this is one fixture. Both teams are having title runs behind them. Inter Milan are fighting for the Scudetto. Barcelona, similar to the La Liga. Do you think this title run, especially from their domestic league, could play a role in this Champions League fixture? And would it worry the team who is more concerned about trying to win the league than the Champions League?
I think between Inter and Barcelona, I think Inter can feel more comfortable in their respective league. I think the teams that are behind them, even though they are really pushing, I think Napoli, AS, and I think Napoli is really giving them a run for their money this season.
And it looks like Napoli have cool fixtures in their next fight.
Yes. They have very
cool than
and on the other hand, I think Barcelona don't really have much to worry about. Let's be honest. I don't really think Madrid is giving them that fight this season. We saw how they played this weekend. It wasn't that was a win, but not a convincing win, though. I think a win is a win, but they really struggled to get those goals in. I think it will be a factor also to manage both the league and Champions League. So it all boils down to which one you really want the most. I think each for bragging rights, you like to have both trophies in your cabinet. For me, that game will be a game of slight mistakes that one could counter on, because we all know this Italian team. They are very aggressive when they play as like it's a battlefield. I think Barcelona have these kids that are vibrant and want to play. But my question is, if it get to the pitch and this Inter guys come with these aggressive tackles and those attitude, can they really stand till the 19? And that question will be something that we really have to look forward to. If Barca can have that attitude to stand these Italian boys, I think they can prove something at the end of the day.
Okay, Ralph, let's look at this Inter Milan Barcelona game. It's more of like an attack versus defense type of game. Inter are very solid at the back. Barcelona are very good in attack. Do you think that is what we are going to see? You are going to see Inter sitting back so deep and try to take advantage of Barca's attacking phases? Or do you think Inter needs to come out and play with them, make sure that they get those early goals they need, and now switch back into their defense?
Okay, so first of all, there's this boy who plays as a left back for Barcelona. That is Gerard Martin.
Yeah.
In their last game, he was very shaky, and the fans were even complaining about how offensively he's very bad. He's been calling for the Ghanaian boy David Odro, that if that boy can get a nod, he can do better than what Gerard Martin is doing.
I think he was even on the bench. Martin was even on the bench.
Exactly. So I feel he will get some games before the season ends, which I'll be very, very happy about as a Ghanaian. Now, Lewandowski being out injured has given the back three of the Inter Milan side some confidence, because as a central defender, whenever Lewandowski is in front of you, you are being restricted. You feel a bit jittery going forward. You think that there's a striker lurking around who can pounce on any ball and score. But if you look at Ferran Torres, he's not that top class striker who you might be afraid of as a central defender. So that will give the back line of the Inter Milan side, that is Bastoni and Pavard, or whoever will play, that confidence that they can always search forward and very good time in the sense that the striker in front of them is not going to give them a difficult time. Lewandowski is one of the best strikers in the world currently. We know what he has done. So the likes of Ferran Torres, he's a good player, but he's not going to give that back line a difficult time. Now also, Barcelona missing Alexandro Balde, Gerard Martin coming up against either. Now when they are playing, you see Marcos Thuram switching to the right side, Lautaro Martinez going to the left, cutting in and all those things. But then one key factor here is Federico Di Marco. In Europe's best leagues, the first 10 players who have contributed in terms of goals and assists, the only defender in there. He's the only left back in there. The charge being led by Rafinha and then Mohamed Salah. He's the only defender in there. That should tell you the sort of quality the guy possesses or the sort of quality the guy has. So Barcelona relies on Jules Koundé to set forward more, to join the attack whenever they are going forward. Now, with this start in mind and what Federico Di Marco can do, it is going to limit Jules Koundé. All I'm trying to say is that the stats are going against Barcelona against Inter Milan. And I feel with that game, Inter Milan with their resilience, Yamal, good player, that game, Yamal should prove to the world if he can be up there with the top players in the world, which have come and then some of them have also left the game. He should prove to us in that game if he can do. But to me, I see Inter Milan eliminating Barcelona in that game, both women away.
Okay, so if we are looking at the the semi-final game, that is between Arsenal and Paris Saint-Germain, who do you think would win the first leg game?
If there's any time Arsenal should show the world what they are made up of after beating Real Madrid this season, they have to beat Paris Saint-Germain. The road ends for Luis Enrique. I'm sorry, unfortunately.
Okay, Prince, with Arsenal and Paris Saint-Germain, who do you think will qualify ahead of or in the first league game? Who are you tipping to win the first league game at the Emirates?
Definitely, we are going to win that match.
Okay,
we should have the edge over them at the Emirates, so we can go and make the final decision at the Parc de France. So I believe we are going to win this game.
And between Inter Milan and Barcelona, who do you think will win the first league game?
They're going to play it at Barcelona is playing home, right?
Yes, Barcelona is playing home at first.
That game might be a draw or a slight win for Barcelona.
Okay. And okay, so you are tipping a slight win for Barcelona ahead of Inter Milan. Is it because you want Barcelona to qualify for the next round?
I honestly want Barcelona in the final. I honestly want.
After that, Barcelona will be going to Real Madrid after that game. So,
and honestly, Barcelona's run of matches it's going to be tough, very, very tough, because they have about 5 tough matches in about 17 days.
Okay.
And it's going to be serious.
Difficult, yeah. Sam, between Arsenal and Paris Saint-Germain, I know you don't want Arsenal to win the Champions League. So in the first leg at the Emirates, who do you think will qualify, or who do you think will win that first leg game?
I'm tipping. I think it might be a draw. I think Luis will be happy if he can get a draw at Emirates and play off it as Paris. We are yet to see any team really do a comeback from a first defeat. So it's obvious the first really vital in the siding. So I think Luis will go for a draw or a slight win at Emirates. Yeah, I think there's the end for Arsenal. This is where their hope or dies.
Okay, and between Inter Milan and Barcelona, who do you think would win the first league game?
I think Inter will win. Just like I said, I think the first league really matters. If Inter win this first league, they will try and defend or in the second league. So I think Inter will win by, yes, it won't be a great margin, either 2-0 or I think 3-1. Yeah.
Okay. So thank you all for joining. This we looked at the final 4 of the UEFA Champions League. And after the first league games, we'll be back to analyze what happened and what both teams needs to improve to make sure that each of them can try and get into the Champions League final. I think the Champions League final in Munich would be a good task for the teams who haven't won the Champions League before, because history is backing that new winners emerge at Munich every time the final is being played there. So we are looking at for Arsenal and Paris Saint-Germain. They are the only 2 teams in this year's Champions League who have not tasted that Champions League trophy before. So from that side, maybe we may see a winner. So we are looking for that after the first league games, we would meet again and analyze both games and see what they are to do in the second round. So thank you for joining the show. Thank you for being on Tactics and Touchlines and sharing your in-depth analysis on every